The night I followed her was the night everything changed. She said she was at a team dinner, but I watched her walk into a hotel room with another man. I had no proof until then, but what I did next, no one saw coming. Now, before we dive in, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe for more real stories of betrayal, healing, and epic comebacks. Let's go.
I met Ella 5 years ago in Buenos Aires at a rooftop party. She was a polished marketing exec, and I was a travel-hardened documentary filmmaker back in Argentina for a project. She liked my edge. I loved her poise. We clicked instantly. The chemistry was wildfire. Within weeks, we were spending nearly every night together. It felt electric. 18 months later, we were married. We moved into a spacious loft downtown, planning for a future with kids, a golden retriever, and a cozy little home by the coast. Or so I thought. It started as a whisper, something so quiet I could barely hear it, a missed call, a late reply, a lingering look at her phone that lasted a little too long. At first I told myself I was overthinking. We were just busy. She had her job. I had mine. Life gets messy, right? Ella had always been career-driven. She worked in a PR agency that ran political campaigns with tight deadlines, long hours, and high stakes. I admired that about her. Her ambition, her fire, but something had changed. She began staying late more often. Just 2 more weeks. We're in crunch mode, she'd say. I'd make dinner, wait for her, text her updates on her favorite show we used to watch together. Most nights the food went cold before she even walked through the door, and when she did, it was different. She used to come in laughing, dropping her purse, kicking off her heels and falling into my arms with a sigh of relief, like home had finally arrived. Now she barely made eye contact. She'd walk in, glance at me and mutter, "Exhausted. I need a shower." Some nights I could smell wine on her breath, soft but distinct. She said it was from after-hours networking. Other nights, she came home, in full makeup, fresh lipstick, not smudged like someone who had worked 12 hours straight. She used to text me throughout the day funny memes, little thinking-of-you notes, or just venting about her co-workers. Now I'd text her at 3 p.m. and get a reply at 8. "Sorry, crazy day. Meeting ran long. Phone died." Except it never really felt like the truth. I knew her battery habits. I knew her meeting schedule. None of it added up. I started noticing the phone. It was always face down, on silent. And then one day she changed the passcode. We used to share everything. Now when I asked why, she blinked and says, "It's just work protocol, security updates, nothing personal." Nothing personal? But it was personal. I tried to shake it off. Gave her the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to trust her, but trust isn't just handed over. It's built, and ours was cracking. Then came the fights over nothing. I'd forget to buy almond milk, and she'd snap. "Do you even care about what I need? You're not present. You haven't been for a while. You always make things about you." No matter what I did, she seemed irritated by my very presence. She started wearing new lingerie I hadn't seen before. She'd buy new perfumes and jewelry. Never showed them to me. Never explained where they came from. One night, I found a pair of earrings in the bathroom drawer. They weren't her style. Too flashy. I asked about them casually. She froze. "Oh, those. Must be my sister's. She visited last month, remember? Except her sister never came inside that day. She stayed in the car." I remembered because I brought her a bottle of water through the passenger side window. It was the first time I felt it, the cold fingers of betrayal inching down my spine. I started noticing inconsistencies. She said she was in meetings, but I could hear music in the background when she picked up the phone, like she was in a bar. She claimed she was stuck late at work, but her location was turned off for hours at a time. I tried to play it cool, kept my tone calm, but inside the voice in my head was screaming. One Saturday morning she said she had to run into the office, so I waited until she left and then I followed her. I felt crazy, like a stalker, but I had to know. She didn't go to the office. She pulled into a cafe across town, waited in the car. A man got in the passenger seat. I couldn't see his face clearly, but they sat close, too close. I watched for 15 minutes. She laughed, touched his arm. He touched her face. When I finally confronted her that night, I didn't explode. I just asked, "Who was the guy in the car today?" She blinked. A beat of silence. "What are you talking about?" "At the cafe. I saw you." Her expression didn't change, just cold. "That's a client. We were discussing a private campaign matter." "In your car?" It was a sensitive topic. He didn't want to be seen. "Why are you spying on me?" And, just like that, I became the problem. She flipped the script with the precision of a professional liar. Suddenly I was paranoid, insecure, controlling. She said she needed space. The word hit me like a truck. That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid next to her, wide awake, staring at the ceiling while she scrolled through her phone, the light flashing across her face. She was smiling, texting someone who wasn't me. That's when I started keeping track. I created a private folder on my phone: dates, times, screenshots, audio notes, not to prove anything to her, to prove it to myself. Because when you're being gaslit by someone you love, reality starts to bend. You stop trusting your own eyes, your gut. But not this time. Something was happening, and I wasn't crazy. On Monday evening, I parked across the street from her office building at 5 p.m. Her shift wouldn't end until 6. But I had a feeling. I sat there, watching every face that exited. Dozens of coworkers, interns, people laughing and heading to happy hour. And then I saw her, Ella, walking out early, wearing those tight black heels she never wore around me, phone in hand, smiling but not alone. Walking next to her was the guy from the other day. Tall, sharp suit, confident, and casually too close. His hand brushed her lower back as they crossed the street. She didn't flinch. She leaned into him. They weren't co-workers. I followed them. They walked into a coffee shop, then out the back exit 2 minutes later, like they knew someone might be watching. Then they slipped into a red Audi. I trailed them for 15 blocks, staying 2 cars behind. They pulled into an underground garage I couldn't enter without a pass. I waited outside, watched the minutes crawl by. 20 minutes, 45, an hour and 37. Then they emerged. Laughing. Her lipstick was smudged. Couldn't breathe. I physically couldn't breathe. I drove home in silence. The kind of silence that scrapes the inside of your skull, where your own thoughts feel like screams. I didn't say anything that night, or the next. I kissed her on the forehead, said, "I love you," with a smile so real, even I believed it. But inside I was setting a trap. I needed confirmation. I created a burner account, generic profile picture, followed her on IG. I waited for a response. Nothing. So I got creative. I added S as a contact in her phone. Just S. No number. No info. Then, the next time she left her phone unattended while in the shower, I airdropped a fake text to her phone from my laptop. S. Can't wait to feel your body again tonight. She saw it while brushing her hair. Her entire body froze. And she smiled. She actually smiled. That's when I knew for sure. The next few days were agony. I started keeping a notebook, tracking every little inconsistency. Monday. Said she was working late. GPS showed she was near the waterfront. Wednesday. Said she was with her friend Maya. Maya posted a story from another city. Friday. Said she had a team-building retreat. She came home with a fresh hickey she tried to pass off as a curling iron burn, and yet, I still hoped I was wrong. That may be I was just paranoid, insecure, broken. But deep down, I knew better. You can't unknown that kind of silence. The kind that creeps into a marriage like mold under wallpaper, slow, invisible, but poisonous. That weekend I told her I was going to visit my brother 2 towns over. I kissed her goodbye, watched her wave from the doorway, then I parked a block away. At 6:45 p.m., a car pulled into our driveway. His car. She met him at the door in lingerie. He lifted her, carried her inside. I stayed in the car for hours, watching the lights in our bedroom flicker off, then on, then off again. The next morning I knocked on my own front door. She answered, in a bathrobe, still smelling like him. I looked her dead in the eyes and said I forgot my charger. She froze. Just for a beat. Then nodded. It's probably in the bedroom. I walked in pretending not to see the men's jacket draped over the couch, pretending not to hear the creak of the back door just barely closing. She followed me in. Did you really come all the way back for a charger? I smiled. No, I came back because I knew. Her eyes widened. Knew what? That you were sleeping with someone else. She didn't deny it, didn't scream, didn't beg. She just looked down and said, I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed. You didn't mean to sneak around for months, lie to my face, let him sleep in our bed? She looked like she might cry. But I didn't care anymore. The version of her I loved was gone, replaced with a stranger who could lie to me while looking straight into my eyes. It was never about him, she whispered. I just stopped feeling like myself with you. I nodded, and I stopped recognizing you the minute you smiled at his texts. Then I walked out. Didn't look back. That night, I changed the locks. The next day, I filed for divorce. And when she tried to explain, text, call, or show up crying on my porch, I sent her a single photo of her with him. The night she thought I was with my brother. The night she gave my love to someone else. She never replied after that. Good. Because there's no fixing betrayal, only surviving it. I spent the first week in a haze, crashing at my friend Nate's place, dodging her calls, ignoring her messages. She texted, "Can we talk? I miss you." I'm sorry. I messed up. Please. But it was too late. She didn't miss me. She missed the version of me who didn't know the truth. I started gathering, not just proof, but leverage. I made copies of everything, screenshots of her messages to AP GPS logs, her expense receipts, show dinners she claimed were business-related, a backup of our shared drive where she kept detailed notes about AP's divorce plans. See, AP wasn't single. He was married, with 2 kids. And his wife? Had no idea, until I sent her a Dropbox link titled, "Thought You Should Know." I didn't want just her world to collapse. I wanted hers, AP's, and every little lie they built to turn to ash. So I started with Julian's wife, Ava. She was classy, sharp, way out of his league. She called me in tears the next day. We talked, compared, notes. Our timelines overlapped like clockwork. I could hear her heartbreak through the phone, but she wasn't just broken. She was angry. So we teamed up. Ava filed for divorce, took the kids, froze his assets, took the car and the beach house. AP. He was blindsided. And when he called my wife in a panic, I was the one who answered her phone. Hope it was worth it. She still had her job, her fancy title, her fake friends, but not for long. I sent an anonymous tip to her company's HR. Attached were copies of her company credit card statements, showing personal spending and some very unprofessional emails between her and AP, who, by the way, worked at a rival firm. HR opened an internal investigation. Word got around. Suddenly she wasn't team leader anymore. She was sent on leave. She tried calling again. This time, she showed up at Nate's. Tears, apologies, promises. It was just a mistake. You didn't deserve this. I'll do anything to mend it. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You already did enough. Now watch what it feels like when everything you built burns down like you burned us." Then I walked out, again, And this time, it was permanent. I didn't just sit in pain. I rebuilt a new apartment, new job, new gym routine. I started posting anonymously online. Stories, thoughts, fragments of betrayal turned into poetry. One post went viral, then another. I started a podcast, started speaking to thousands, turned pain into profit. She watched it all unfold from the sidelines. The man she discarded, now the man trending on every social platform she used to brag on. Months later, I got a letter, no name, no return address, just a torn photo of us from our wedding day and a scribbled note on the back. I never stopped loving you. I just lost myself. I wish I could undo it. I tossed the letter to the bin and went back to recording the next episode of my podcast. Today's topic: cheaters always want you back when they realize you're doing better without them. Months passed and everything felt different, better. I wasn't expecting it. Not after everything. But there it was. Her name flashing on my phone screen like a ghost from the past. Please, just hear me out. I let it ring for a minute. Then I answered. Her voice came through, fragile, like porcelain breaking. I'm sorry. I messed up. I lost everything, and I know it's my fault. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just need to hear you say you're okay, that you've moved on. I swallowed hard, the anger of the past still lurking like a dark cloud. But I'd been prepared for this moment. I'd imagined it 100 times. And now that it was here, I'm more than okay. I'm exactly where I need to be. I ended the call before she could say another word, but that wasn't the end of it. The messages kept coming. I deleted every message without reading them, but still, she tried. She had to get through. She went further, showing up at my office, at my gym, on the street outside my apartment, asking to talk. It was like she couldn't accept that I was done, that we were done. What she didn't realize was that her actions had consequences far beyond the relationship with me. AP, well, he was a mess. I got a tip that his wife had hired a private investigator to trace every transaction and interaction he had for months. His affairs weren't just an isolated incident. His career, his reputation, his entire life was collapsing around him. His company fired him. His social circle began to drop him like a bad habit. And worst of all, Ava's divorce settlement was so airtight that Julian had nothing left. No assets, no savings, and as a cherry on top, she made sure his access to his kids was severely restricted. That's the thing about betrayal. It always comes back to bite. But the worst part? He started contacting me, looking for help. I need a favor. I messed up big time, and I know you're the only one who can understand. I laughed at his desperation. The same guy who had been so smug when I was the one hurt, now begging for my support. But I wouldn't let him off the hook. You don't deserve my help. You never did. Then came the unexpected twist. I was at a local cafe minding my business. Quiet, peaceful, nothing on the horizon when she walked in. The one person I had thought was done. The person I believed had lost her place in my life. But she was there. Eyes red, face pale, like the weight of everything had crushed her soul. She sat down across from me. Her eyes locked with mine, and for the first time in months, I saw nothing but vulnerability. No defenses. Just raw, painful regret. I can't fix what I did to you. I know that. I've been through the worst times, and I've learned that nothing will ever be enough to make it right. I've lost everything. Her voice was trembling. Now, breaking with each word. But I didn't feel pity. I didn't feel sympathy. I felt nothing. I said nothing for a long moment, just looking at her, letting the silence hang heavy between us. Finally, I spoke, but my voice was calm, controlled, almost distant. You can't fix this. I'm not interested in reconciliation. I'm just here for my peace now. Her face twisted in desperation. but I need you to understand. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't think he'd do that to me. Enough! I stopped her right there. I was done with her excuses, done with the guilt, done with the endless apologies that meant nothing anymore. You're not the person I thought you were, and that's not something I can unseen. She didn't say anything after that. She just looked at me, her eyes filling with unshed tears, her lips quivering like she had so much more to say but couldn't find the words. I stood up, ready to walk away. This was it, the final moment. But as I walked out the door, she called after me, "I'll always love you." I didn't look back. I just walked. The next few weeks were strange. I felt free in a way that I hadn't in a long time. The weight of everything, her lies, his betrayal, the pain, had melted away, replaced by something stronger, something better. But that doesn't mean it was all easy. It took time to fully heal, time to accept the fact that I'd been hurt in ways I hadn't expected. But here's the thing. The revenge wasn't about what I'd done to them. It was about what I'd done to myself, how I'd grown stronger, more resilient, and more aware of my worth. I found someone new, someone who saw me as I was. Not the broken version from the past. But every now and then, when I think about her, the woman who shattered everything I thought I knew, I realize something. I never needed her, and now she knows that too. I'm not rushing anything, but I'm living again. To anyone going through something similar, you don't owe your loyalty to someone who betrays it. You're not weak for walking away. You're powerful. Would you have confronted her right away, or ghosted like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you've ever been lied to. Hit subscribe for more true stories of heartbreak and redemption. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, sometimes the best revenge is peace.